So in the previous tutorial, we have discussed about basics of inheritance. So I told that inheritance is nothing but a chain of objects we are creating. We can access parent's property. So in this tutorial, I will wrap up all the things. I will create a class X here, and this X class has properties L, M, and one function it has X. Suppose this is class X and I have another class that is Y, and Y has properties Y have I and J and function Y. And now we have one more class that is Z. Inside Z we have properties int a comma b, and one function we have inside this Z, that is function Z. So these are the three classes which I want to show you multi-level inheritance. So here this is one class, second class, and this is our third class. What happens here? This Y class extends this X class, and this Z class extends this Y class. And X doesn't extend any class, so it extends object class ultimately. It extends object class. So all the properties of object class will be available to X, Y, and Z. So here it is extending object class. So supermost class in Java is object class. This is not object, this is object class. So here we are using extends keywords. Z extends Y extends, and now this X is not extending anyone, so it should extend object class. So I will be creating these classes here. So here I have X, what X contains L, M, and function X. So the return type is void. Okay, one statement I am writing here. So I have created these fields LMN and one function or method here, that is function X. So X is not extending anyone, so it is extending object class by default. Second, I will be creating class Y. Inside Y I have fields ij and one function we have, and this class is extending X class, and one more class we have, that is class Z. Z has variables a, b, and function Z. So this Z class extends class Y. So I will be creating one inheritance test class. In this class I will create one main method, and in this main method, so I will be creating object of Y. Okay, object of Y we are creating. Y is equal to new Y. What happens when you are creating object of Y class? So in this time, object of Y class try to create object of Y, but it is extending X class, so it goes to X, and it will create object of X class first, then it will create object of Y class. Since X is not extending any class, so it will create object of object class, then it will create object of y class, and then it will create object of y. So the sequence would be object y and x. So by using y, if you see here, we are able to access y members. So here if you see this capital Y shows I and j are the member of y, and L and M are the member of X, and these are the members of object class. So we are able to access all the parents available in this hierarchy or in this multi-level inheritance. So we are able to access using by this ij as well as this lmn and function x. Also from object class, whatever the methods available to us, we are able to access those method as well. In y I will assign some values like y has 20 and j is also 21, and x is l is equal to 10 and m is equal to 11, and in the case of x we have 30 and b is 31. So I have assigned some value so that we can print which value prints. As out y dot I, see here, when you are creating object of y, what happens here, it will try to create object of y class. So this is the object of y class, but first it will check whether this y extends any other class or not. So y extends this x class, so it will try to create object of this x class. So again it will check whether x is extending any class or not. So it is not extending. It is not extending. By default it is extending object class. So it is extending object class. So supermost class object always create first. Okay. So it will we will prove this by using constructor. So first let's understand. So supermost class object created first, then their child, then their child. So this is y, this is x, and this is object. So three objects created, and this chain of object we can say it is inheritance, because we are able to access all the members using this y. Here we have I and j. Here we have l, comma m. Here we have methods, multiple methods of object class. So just we created object of y, but with this reference we are able to access y dot I, y dot l, and the function whatever available inside this class. So here I will print y dot I, y dot j, and y dot l, and y dot m. So if you see here, with child class object we are able to access all the parents properties. We are able to access y as well as x properties here. So this y is pointing to not only this object, it is pointing to entire chain of object, that is inheritance. So here if you see, this y is not pointing only this object, it is pointing to entire chain object. So inheritance is nothing but chain of object in Java, because with this x you are able to access not only y, x, and object class properties. So this type of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. Cyclic inheritance Java doesn't support. Suppose if this x child class is our x class is our parent class, and if our parent class want to extend z, then that is cyclic inheritance. This cyclic inheritance is Java doesn't support. And if I want to call methods, we can call methods as well from this y dot function. If you see here, function x and function y both are accessible from this y. Run this. What I will do, I will comment out all these things. we'll discuss more. Now I will be creating object of Chad. Okay, I will be creating object of Chad. Okay, Chad, Chad is equal to new Chad. So what happens here? Chad object is created first. Try to create Chad object, but checks whether Chad is extending any class or not. So Z extends this Y. Here is my Z class, and in this Z we have two variables A and B, A comma B. So now this Z is pointing to this chain of object. This Z is pointing to this whole object, entire object it is pointing. Now anytime if I want to access this Z, then directly I have to call z.ab, z.a, z.b, z.i, z.j, z.l, z.m, and so we can access like this. We'll try to access here. See here, I will write s out here, z.a, z.b, z.i, z.j, and z.l, z.m. So we are able to access all the members in this hierarchy, or we can say in this level. So this chain of object represented by this child. So with child object we can access all the parents properties. Now I said earlier that object class object has been created first, then created X, then it will create Y, then it will create Z. To prove this, I will create constructor here. Okay, so because before creating of an object, it will execute constructor first, then only object will be created. So I will be creating constructor for all these class and will check which constructor is executing first, whether Z's constructor is executing, because we are creating Z object, but we are able to access all these objects. So which object has been created first and which is created last, so that we need to make sure. So I will be creating constructor inside Z. I will be creating one constructor, that is default constructor, zero param constructor I am creating, public. So what are the properties of constructor? The name of constructor should be the name of class, and it doesn't have any return type, and constructor will executed only once before creation of an object. I will write one statement here, class Z. So we are inside of constructor Z. Now I will be creating constructor inside this Y. Inside constructor of class Y, and similarly I will be creating constructor for X as well. Format this. Also I want to format this. Okay, now we have completed all the constructors, but here we have to use this X. Okay, three constructor we have created: constructor for X, constructor for Y, and constructor for Z. Because object is predefined class, so we can't create constructor for this object class. So what in our control that we have done. Okay, just comment all this code. What happens when you create this new Z? It will try to create object of Z class, but Z class extends Y class. So it will try to execute Z class constructor, but it says compiler or JVM looked at Z extends Y, so it will goes to Y, and it will again check whether Y is extending any other class or not. So Y is extending this X class, then again it checks whether X is extending any other class or not. So X is not extending any class, but X any class is not extending any class, then it should extend object class by default. So it goes to object class and it will create object of object class, then it will create object of x class, then it will create object of y class, then it will create object of z class. So collectively it is a one object, and parent class object will be created first because of this theory. So let's check. I will try to run this code. If you see here, so who is our parent? X is our parent. X is extending object class by default, it is not X. Then Y is a child of X and Z is child of Y. So if you see the output here, first which constructor executed? X class, because, but if you see here, we are creating object of Z class, but whose constructor executed first? X class constructor executed first. So by this we can say super class object will be created first, then child class, then their child class, because of this theory. So this is the multi-level inheritance in brief. We will discuss more on next tutorial. Thanks for watching.